Tonight on the Northwestern News Report, NIH nails Northwestern, causing NU's Research Center for Sexual and Gender Minority Health to shut down key programs.
Plus, council commences. Evanston welcomes its newest members to the city council. We have more about their plans for their terms.
And Battle of the Artists. Student performers compete for a spot at the 53rd Dillo Day.
All that and more tonight on the Northwestern News Report.
It's your news right now. Good evening and welcome to the Northwestern News Report. I'm Lena Peterson.
And I'm Paris Franzway. We have some breaking news this evening as the federal government takes another step in its investigation of alleged anti-Semitism at Northwestern. The House Committee on Education and Workforce sent a letter yesterday to Northwestern President Michael Schill alleging that the university has not done enough to combat anti-Semitism on campus since Schill testified on Capitol Hill last May. The letter reads in part, quote, "Despite Northwestern's claims to the contrary, the committee has not seen your commitments to discipline, enforcement, and security come to satisfactory fruition. It remains unclear whether any students or faculty have been meaningfully disciplined in response to the repeated incidents of anti-Semitism at Northwestern, including the harassment and violence against Jewish students at Northwestern's 2024 encampment." In a statement to NNN, a Northwestern spokesperson responded by reiterating the steps the university has taken to combat anti-Semitic behavior on campus and saying in part, quote, "These steps have had an impact. There's been a significant decrease in reports of discrimination or harassment based on anti-Semitism or shared Jewish ancestry in the current academic year." We'll have more on the continued battle between the federal government and the university as it develops.
Students going from class on Thursday might have heard a chorus of bagpipes and Bible verses while passing by the arch. NNN's Allison Miller spoke to the demonstrators to find out what they hope to gain by visiting NU.
Members of the Tradition, Family, and Property Student Action Group, also known as TFP, protested against the LGBTQ+ community at Northwestern on Thursday as a part of a trip across college campuses in the Midwest. They believe
it's a biological impossibility for a girl to become a boy or a boy to become a girl. It's a lie that's being pushed on these individuals that are suffering, and we need to tell them the truth.
Their goal is to fight what they call harmful gender ideology by speaking directly to students.
To promote moral values on campus, more commonly maybe viewpoints that you're not hearing in the classrooms anymore.
To promote those views, the volunteer group launches petitions, organizes demonstrations, and produces reaction videos like this one filmed on Northwestern's campus last year.
They've given us the middle finger, they've cursed at us, they've yelled at us.
TFP received mixed responses on Thursday, including some anger and frustration from the Northwestern community.
Hateful, transphobic rhetoric being repackaged in the name of God and protecting children.
Supporters of the LGBTQ+ community fought back, some making their own signs and taking over the arch with a very different message.
We need to really rally around a sense of community, belonging, and not tolerate bigotry and fascism.
They say they hope to show LGBTQ+ students that they are not alone.
You have a lot of people in the area here who love you and support you. Stay strong.
At the Arch, Allison Miller, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Allison. Northwestern's Gender and Sexuality Resource Center webpage remains down as a part of the university's response to the Trump administration.
And it doesn't stop there. Northwestern's Research Center for Sexual and Gender Minority Health is also shutting down key programs after losing millions in federal funding. This is separate from the $790 million in federal funding frozen by the Trump administration. NNN's Alex Zhang reports on the impact of these sudden grant terminations.
Today, about 20 people had to turn in their things due to the grant terminations. This is one of the research areas where our Fab 400 team, one of the teams that all 4 researchers were laid off and terminated.
After the Trump administration froze billions in NIH research grants specifically targeting DEI programs, multiple programs at Northwestern's Institute for Sexual and Gender Minority Health and Well-Being have met the same fate of shutting down. The institute is the nation's first university-wide center dedicated to the health of sexual and gender minority communities, with a special focus in youth populations.
These programs and policies have reached, at least in my own career, like tens of thousands of young people across the country.
One of the institute's terminated flagship programs is RADAR. Since 2014, RADAR has served young men at higher risk of HIV and other sexually transmitted infections at the center on Hallstatt.
People come in twice a year. They will take a survey. After that survey, we'll do an HIV test.
The RADAR program has operated out of this space in the center on Hallstatt for more than 10 years, but right now, due to NIH funding termination, the program is paused indefinitely, and the space is now emptied. The loss of funding meant only a portion of the program staff could continue to stay at Northwestern, while many others were let go with severance. Flowers says the shutdown could leave many RADAR participants without their only source of health care, and many researchers without jobs.
It's really devastating. It's frustrating that so much power has been taken away from us in this way, and it's really sad.
The institute is losing $8.9 million in NIH funding, which was awarded to 15% of proposed programs. Institute founder Brian Mustansky says programs like RADAR should not be labeled as DEI, and the current administration is cutting the cream of the crop in science.
1 in 5, 20% of young people identify as part of the LGBT community. So this is a broad swath of America, and it is important to study their health.
In Chicago, Alex Jones, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks for your reporting, Alex. RADAR is one of the largest providers of HIV testing in the Chicago area. The institute is appealing the grant termination on grounds that there are no DEI initiatives involved in the program.
Mayor Daniel Biss, City Clerk Stephanie Mendoza, and the 9 members of Evanston City Council took part in a special swearing-in ceremony Monday, where 3 new faces took their seats for the first time. NNN's Allison Miller spoke with them to find out what we can expect from the council in coming weeks.
Congratulations.
Evanston's 82nd City Council was sworn in last night, marking the beginning of a brand new chapter for 3 newcomers. In the 3rd Ward, Sean Isles.
I'm excited to do the job.
In the 7th Ward, Periel Davis.
I also wanted to thank the residents of my ward for voting me in.
And in the 8th Ward, Matt Rogers.
Forward and provide something for the next generation.
All 3 face difficult decisions ahead, including a budget deficit and Envision Evanston 2045.
The things that made me want to run was I was concerned about affordability here in Evanston, and I was concerned about the unhoused.
Isles is the overnight shelter director at Interfaith Action, an organization serving hungry and unhoused people. He says he hopes to continue his community service through work on the city council.
We're going to have to make some really hard decisions about what our priorities are. And so it's a daunting task, but I'm excited about the challenge.
In the 7th Ward, Davis faces another challenge, the Ryan Field rebuild.
We need to do more to transition our residents into making sure that they're feeling well supported and heard.
As vice president of the Most Livable City Association, she pushed for a community benefits agreement between the city and the university. Now, she says her goals include increased transparency and financial stability through raising sales taxes.
I think that would allow us to do more of the initiatives that cost money but are better for our community when it comes to the environment or affordable housing.
Rogers has another plan for solving deficits.
Building strong economic engines in the city that we're able to help lessen that burden on individual property owners.
Rogers knows how Evanston runs. He's spent 18 years serving several city boards and commissions, including chairing the Land Use Commission.
You're elected by a ward, but you don't represent just the ward. That's where you need to focus a lot of your energy, but you work for the entire city.
The new council will start that work at its first meeting on May 12th. In Evanston, Allison Miller, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Allison. The new council members will receive their training this weekend.
It's not just the political scene here in Evanston that's seeing a changing of the guard. Elected officials representing our area in Congress have made some major news about their futures as well in the last week. Our Logan Schijano joins us now. Logan, it sounds like some longtime Illinois Democrats are stepping aside.
That's right, Paris. Senator Dick Durbin, who began his time in Congress representing Illinois' 20th congressional district all the way back in 1982, said last week that he won't seek re-election when his term is up in 2026. Here's part of that announcement.
The decision of whether to run for re-election has not been easy. I truly love the job of being United States Senator, but in my heart, I know it's time to pass the torch.
Now, those words coming from Durbin, who's the #2 Democrat in the Senate, are eerily similar from what we heard from President Joe Biden earlier this summer when he announced he was withdrawing from the presidential race. Now, we should note we're not hearing them from the most powerful Senate Democrat, Chuck Schumer, who said over the weekend that he won't step down from his role as minority leader despite growing pressure from some in his party. Now, back in Illinois, the race to replace Durbin is on, with Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton already announcing her candidacy and receiving high-profile endorsements from Governor J.B. Pritzker and the other senator from the land of Lincoln, Tammy Duckworth. Names like current House Democrats Raja Krishnamurthy and Lauren Underwood have also been floated as possible contenders in this race. Now, if you take a look at this polling, this was actually released just before Durbin withdrew from the race. You can see Underwood is slightly ahead at 39%, followed by Krishnamurthy and then Stratton. But turning to the other side of Congress now, Jan Schakowsky, who's represented Evanston and Washington for over 2 decades, is also planning a retirement announcement of her own. Politico first reported this last Wednesday, that Schakowsky is privately starting telling allies that she won't seek re-election, and she confirmed to Politico that she'll have more to say on that at an event on May 5th. Like Durbin, Schakowsky is 80 years old, and while she's been a leading progressive voice in Congress, some back home may be ready for a change, and one of those people may include Kat Abu-Ghazaleh. She entered the race to represent the 9th District just a few weeks ago. She was born a year after Schakowsky started serving in Congress. Here's some of what she has said about the current state of her party.
Unfortunately, this party has become one where you have to look to the exceptions for real leadership, as the majority work from an outdated playbook. We need a makeover.
While Abu-Ghazaleh is the only one in this race as of now, Politico reports that State Senator Laura Fine and Evanston Mayor Daniel Biss are widely expected to enter the race after Schakowsky makes her plans public. We've reached out to both of those politicians, and we're still waiting to hear back. And of course, we'll bring you any new developments as they unfold. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Logan.
Moving to representatives at Northwestern, NU's faculty assembly reached quorum for the first time last week. NNN's Alex Zhang has more on what that means.
History was made here at Scott Hall on April 21st as the faculty assembly reached a quorum for the first time. Many faculty members expressed frustrations and called for a stronger response from the university amid mounting federal pressure on higher education, including funding freezes, speech limitations, and demand for student and faculty records. The faculty assembly brings together all full-time Northwestern faculty twice a year to address key university issues. Only when at least 10% of faculty are present, known as reaching quorum, can assembly vote and make official decisions.
Quorum is significant because that's required for the assembly to do any kind of business beyond general discussion.
As of April 21st, there are 4,550 full-time faculty members, which meant at least 455 were present for the meeting.
It shows that faculty are really concerned about the state of higher education in this moment and the attacks on higher education that are coming from the Trump administration.
A news chapter of the American Association of University Professors passed resolutions calling on Northwestern to defend academic freedom, protect speech and privacy, and mandatory political trainings, and prevent the release of names and records to the government. Some professors criticized Northwestern for requiring students to watch a video on antisemitism and Islam, while others voiced concern over the university's compliance with government demands for records.
Somehow they're very comfortable throwing the members of our community under the bus and feeding us to the Trump administration in exchange for protecting their financial investments in the endowment.
Professors also stressed the need for stronger faculty representation and greater self-governance.
The fact that the Board of Trustees is a very large board and doesn't include anyone whose expertise is really in higher education is very significant. And I think it's really important for there to be a faculty voice that's a powerful faculty voice.
The resolution received feedback that it could have been more streamlined and focused. Faculty Senate President Jill Wilson said debate is a key part of the Faculty Assembly's purpose.
So I think debate and disagreement is the point.
In Evanston, Alex Jones, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Alex, for your great reporting. It's Sexual Assault Action Week. How students are spreading awareness after the break.
Trying to work my way out of the prison system was the most difficult challenge of my life. It only became tangible once I became a Northwestern student.
One, two, three, four.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back. Mayfest Productions hosted their annual Battle of the Artists last Thursday. NNN's Annika Sani has more on the student talent this Dillo Day.
6 student musicians, DJs, and bands chosen as finalists for the student headliner slot gave a preview of what they would bring to the Dillo Day stage on Thursday.
I just think there's so many talented student groups on campus, and I mean, I've seen a lot of student concerts, and I just feel like more people should know that it's not just like other artists, we have talent here at Northwestern too.
The energy radiated on and off the stage. From 7 to 11 p.m., undergraduate students decided on their favorite performances of the night.
I think Battle of the Bands, especially 2 or 3 weeks after the event, really get people in the spirit and the headspace to get ready to go to Dillo.
Freshman acts Pearl and Inertia won the vote and will be performing alongside announced headliners Raven Lene, Big X The Plug, and Slow Pulp.
I didn't really expect that it would come as far as performing at gigs and house shows and Dillo, Battle of the Bands, but I'm so excited that it has gotten this far.
Dillo Day is just over 2 weeks away, and based on the turnout at Battle of the Bands, students are excited. Annika Sani, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Annika. I'm looking forward to seeing their performances.
Today marks one of the last days of Sexual Assault Action Week. And then Zoe Singer took a look into how one NU club supports survivors of domestic abuse in the Evanston area.
Northwestern Survivor Advocacy through Greek Engagement, known as SAGE, collected hygiene and food products to donate to Wings, a domestic violence support organization in Evanston.
The food that SAGE collected here at Northwestern is going to go directly to our families that need that extra help.
The products will go to survivors of domestic violence and their families living in Wings residential housing. After leaving their abusers, many survivors don't have access to essentials like food and a place to live.
All of the students here wrote the most amazing, sweetest notes. So when a survivor comes to get their food and their hygiene items, they're going to get a sweet note from someone in our community.
Students discussed how to identify unhealthy relationships and offer support.
It's definitely very difficult not knowing where to start. People are there for you and they care.
Students learn that making survivors feel safe is essential.
giving someone a kind word could save their life. That being a safe person for someone in a violent relationship could help get them out.
I think it's really important that we empower victims of domestic violence, because that's what they, their confidence is what's lowest sometimes.
Sage is encouraging students to wear denim tomorrow as part of a National Awareness Day, highlighting that survivors are not to blame for the abuse that they have experienced. In Evanston, Zoe Singer, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Zoe. For students who want to get involved, Wings has volunteer and internship opportunities listed on wingsprogram.com/volunteer. Rain, go away or not. Lance brings us this week's forecast next.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Ready, set, go!
And we are back in the studio. Unfortunately, Emmanuel can't be here tonight, but we have Lance here in the studio with us for the weather.
You know, I was happy to take the step up. I don't really know what I'm doing, but Emmanuel has stepped in to help me a little bit, so I guess we'll see how this goes, right? All right, well, if you're wondering, I am fully unqualified to be doing this, by the way, but hey, we'll get this through this together, everyone. All right, starting off, regional weather radar. A lot of colors going on your screen. I see them too. You'll see this blue line with some triangles pointing this way. That, I'm told, that means that there's a cold front coming through in this direction, which means that there's some cloudy skies coming through along with some declining temperatures that we'll see throughout the week. Now, this is today's weather. As you can see, it's currently 54 degrees, partly cloudy. Not too bad out today, maybe not totally beach weather, but it's going to be a little bit colder throughout the night. Right now, or around 6 p.m., I should say, it was around 58 degrees, and we'll be heading down to the mid to high 40s as we get through the night. Local temperatures, wow, that's a lot of yellow. All right, well, let's start in Evanston. Obviously, 54 degrees in Evanston, way colder than everywhere else. That kind of stinks. But anyway, 58 degrees in Chicago, 60 down in Skokie, 64 at O'Hare, and if for some reason you're at Midway Airport, it's 65 degrees down there. Our precipitation radar, that's what this is, forgot for a second, but I got there. Looks pretty bare to me. Pretty much nothing going on, no rain or anything like that, but there are some clouds creeping through as that cold front makes its way down to the eastern part of the United States. Oh, 5-day forecast, great. On Wednesday, 55 degrees is our high, 44 degrees is our low. Heavy showers on Wednesday, that's tomorrow, so definitely don't go to the beach tomorrow. Thursday, raining just the whole day. Terrible, not good day. Rainy all day, high of 60, 48 degrees is the low. Friday, as you can tell by this very complicated emoji, not really emoji, icon, that's the word. A lot going on. There's a sun going on behind the clouds and then some rain and then several more clouds, lots of scattered showers in the morning, and then in the afternoon it's going to be mostly cloudy, high of 58, low of 46. Saturday, fortunately, it's going to be pretty rainy, no rain that day, which will be great. High of 53, low of 42, and then Sunday, no clouds, very sunny, high of 65, low of 44. Might be good enough for beach weather. How do you do, guys?
Here at Northwestern, we have Philip Lamb into the studio with more on how the latest Ice Bucket Challenge is impacting NU students.
Thanks, Lena. What started at the University of South Carolina has since exploded across social media platforms this past month. You might have heard it, you've probably done it yourself. It's the USC Speak Your Mind Challenge. Now, participants record themselves getting drenched by a bucket of water, post it on social media, and nominate others to join. The campaign aims to raise awareness about mental health and normalize conversations around mental illness. Now, some students I've talked to say it's the participatory element of this challenge that's bringing the engagement needed to spotlight mental health challenges and, more importantly, resources, as opposed to, say, more conventional methods of advertisement like posting flyers around campus. But others tell me the challenge doesn't go far enough to convince students to donate to Active Minds, that being the nonprofit partnering with the organizers of the challenge. Those critics say that dumping a bucket of water over your head doesn't do much to create meaningful change. But Active Minds has raised over $380,000 out of its $500,000 goal, this as we approach 1 month since the start of the campaign. Back to you, Lena.
Thank you, Philip. For more information, check out the Active Minds website and the Instagram of USC Mind Club, where you can find their donation links. Achoo!
Oh, Gesundheit. Up next, we have more on the 12th Annual German Immersion Day.
I'm Kelly McEvers, founding host of the NPR podcast Embedded.
I'm James Edwards, host of the Unresolved podcast from Frontline.
I'm Antonia Cereijido, former senior producer of Anything for Selena podcast and current executive producer at Elias Studios.
My narrative, since I've been locked up and kind of made my transition, has been like redemption, accountability.
When I come into the classroom environment, every individual that sits amongst me takes education seriously.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back. Students across Northern Illinois traveled to the Middle Ages this weekend at the 12th Annual German Immersion Day. NNN's Bernarda Malewska shows us how language learning comes to life outside the classroom.
With pretzels and dura, Northwestern welcomes German language students from across Northern Illinois.
The point of the day is not for it to be just like a class that you would have any other day, or definitely not a lecture, right? But more playful.
Through various collaborative games, like matching words to pictures, students not only improved their fluency, but also bonded with fellow German speakers.
So it's very nice to, have a dedicated space where everyone comes together and is interested and passionate about their history, culture, music.
This melody of medieval instruments, a pathway connecting some to their heritage.
My grandpa was born in Vienna,
but I never met him and whatnot, and my family's recently kind of tried to pick up German.
Heritage was not only celebrated through music. Besides feeding their hunger for knowledge, students also fed their appetites with plenty of Wursts.
Lunch is always an awesome plus. I feel like it's kind of hard to find authentic German food in the area, and they do a really great job catering them in.
For event organizer Professor Ingrid Zeller, the level of engagement determines the true success of the event.
The highlight is really that the students are here, the wonderful students, and they're engaged and they're excited.
The German Immersion Day blended culture and conversation, giving students new connections and vocabulary. For Northwestern News Network, I'm Bernarda Malewska.
Thank you, Bernarda. Follow the German Undergraduate Advisory Board on Instagram at GWABNU for more events in the German department.
You know, that package really made me want to go back to Germany, back to Oktoberfest, and get an authentic Bavarian pretzel.
It really made me want to go back to Germany. I also had a great pretzel when I was abroad and would love to go back too.
Awesome.
And that's all the time we have for tonight.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Paris Francois.
And I'm Lena Peterson. Have a good night.